Let's summarize the module. And the very first thing I started out on was to talk about how these old risks that we know so well from many, many years of practice still apply in the cloud. Those web application risks, denial of service risks, outdated frameworks, all those different risks I showed earlier on the one screen are still important in the cloud. So many things don't change at all. But other things do change, and data sovereignty was one of the most important things I touched on in this module. But it's complex. It's not just where the data exists, but what services are available in what locations, and then who controls them and from where, and then whether or not it even matters for your organization. The reality of it is also it's going to change based on the data class. And in fact, it may change based on regulatory requirements as well. Compared to many of the technical decisions we make about standing up information systems, data sovereignty can actually be a very hard problem. There are other aspects of the way we design and build systems which may also change. So for example, compliance assessments and penetration tests. You can still do these, but you've just got to expect there might be some changes. So for example, you may not be able to get answers out of the cloud provider about things like some security practices. Yet on the other hand, when it comes to assessments and establishing compliance, you'll often find a raft of other standards that good cloud providers are already compliant with. I mentioned FIPS and HIPAA and PCI, and you'll find these published in very easily consumable fashion, so it actually makes that part of the job easier than before. Penetration tests, check with your cloud provider. So long as you're not DDoSing them, they're normally pretty fine with them. They just often like you to let them know in advance. And finally, shadow IT. Try and get to the root of why this is happening. Be extra conscious that it's very easy to happen in a cloud environment. It doesn't matter how much you've locked down the endpoints. If someone can still open a browser and create a DigitalOcean server in only 55 seconds. But there's a reason they're doing it. There's a business problem they're trying to solve, and there's an opportunity here for organizational IT to provide this service and do so in a more formalized fashion than someone just going out and standing up servers on their own. So that's organizational security considerations. Let's now move on and start to look at some of the things that can actually go wrong in the cloud. Let's talk about cloud computing risks.